Hello, and welcome to Roly Poly Weight Loss. I'm your host, Roly Poly, and welcome to day 21. So, today is our last day of simple beginner exercises with minimal equipment. Last time we covered mostly chair exercises. Now we're going to go to the floor. Okay, so our first floor exercise comes from Shape, and it's called the Fly to Tris. And we're still using the chair, but now we're on the floor instead of on it. So you lie on your back and you prop your feet up on the chair with your knees and hips both at 90-degree angles, or as close as you can get them. Then, dumbbells. Extend arms over chest, palms facing each other, and elbows slightly bent. Lower weights out to sides. Return to starting position, then bend elbows, lowering weights towards head. Okay. Extend arms back to starting position. So this is a two-parter. So you go out, and then up here. Okay? And you want your elbows slightly bent the whole time. Okay? So that's our first one. Now, while you're on your back, you can get rid of the chair. Woo. And dumbbells. And try a lying march. So, lie face up with knees bent 90 degrees and aligned over hips. Arms extended at sides and palms on the ground. Pull abs in. Pull abs in, then slowly lower left foot, stopping just before it touches the ground. And then do the other side. Oh, I don't know about you, but I feel that burn. Whew. Now, so you go each leg through. Okay? Now, if hovering over the ground is too hard, then at first you can let your foot actually touch down, but don't use the ground to push back up when you come back up. You actually want to lift and pull with those muscles instead. So you don't want to just like push off the ground. You want to actually bring it up like you're hovering and then bring it up. Okay? So, again, don't let gravity work for you. Don't just let their foot fall. Actually lower it. Okay. And while you're here, Men's Health suggests doing something called a dead bug. Probably because you look like a little dead bug. I just like the name. So this is very similar to the lying march, as your legs do the exact same thing. But instead of helping to balance yourself by having your arms at your sides, you have them straight up in the air. And this basically adds an extra level of difficulty to the march because you can't prop yourself against the ground and spread your weight out with your hands. So you're up here, 90 degrees, and you... Oh. See, it's harder that way. And once you get really proficient at the dead bug, you can even go extreme dead bug and add some weights up here to make your arms work out while you're at it. And there's another variation if your arms are tired of being straight up, or if you just want to give them something more to do. Okay, this is, I think, the crazy one, and I do not think I can do it without putting one knee down to support myself. So, you are here, okay, and when this leg is up in this position, your arm is up here. And when the leg goes down, you bring your arm down with it. Okay, as your leg is hovering, your arm is down here. Now, in the meantime, this one should be up at the same time. Okay, so you're like this. And then you switch. Ugh. I think dead bug is a very appropriate name. But those are some variations you can do. So, and also when you are doing it with the arms going back and forth, when you get really advanced at that, you can throw those dumbbells back in. Now, while you're here, you can also do a dumbbell floor press. So, get your dumbbells. And you want to be holding them in this way. And you want your legs down. Okay, so, lying flat on your back, bend the elbows and hold the weights above you. Press up and straighten your arms before pausing at the top of the rep and lowering slowly to the start position. So, and again, don't let gravity do it for you. Up and down. So you'll recognize the press motion, but we're doing it on the ground instead of in the chair. Okay? And this is the precursor to when people in a gym are like laying on a bench, and they do this on a bench, so they have space inside them so they can go down lower with their elbows and get like all the way down. We're just going down to the floor. So, putting the dumbbells aside, you can try some windshield wipers. So, you want to be on your back with your arms either down by your side or sticking straight out. Okay? And you want your legs in two 90-degree angles, which you'll see quite often at the knees and the hips. Okay? So, raise your feet off the floor so that your knees and hips are bent to 90 degrees and press your low back into the floor. Brace your core to maintain the position. From here, keeping your legs together, slowly lower your legs as far as you can to one side without lifting your shoulders or low back off the floor. And then you come back up, and then you go back down on the other side. So, with this one, your hips will shift a little bit as you go. They kind of have to. But you don't want that low back, that like small of your back, to be shifting up here. Okay? And again, with this one, the keeping your back and shoulders on the floor part is more important than the how low can you go part. And this is where your arm position can actually help you to keep yourself flat by pressing down instead of this one, which is more likely to let you roll on the far side. This can give you a little more stability. This is the hardcore version. And of course, if you're lying on your back, you can't avoid the dreaded crunch. Now, I know everything says you're supposed to do crunches, but I also know that when you do them wrong, as most people do, they can cause more harm than good. So, I've always been very leery of doing them. But Very Well Fit has a really good article on how to do crunches properly. Okay? And the first thing they advise is your hand and arm position. Okay. Some people find that crossing the arms over the chest helps them avoid pulling on the neck. However, if you find your neck is strained, you can keep one hand cradling the head. If you are putting your hands behind your head, your fingers should gently cradle your head. The idea is to support your neck without taking away from the work of your abs. So, this is important because one of the concerns they list of ways that people do this wrong in the common mistakes is pulling on your neck. So when you're just using your hands to push your neck up, you're doing nothing in this part of your body. It's all like just shoving your neck up with your hands. Okay? So this not only strains the neck, but it takes away from working your abs. You want to originate the movement in your abs, not from your head. To keep your neck in proper alignment and not moving, place your fist under your chin. Now, this warning actually ties back into something else they said. Imagine, where is it? Imagine you're holding a tennis ball under your chin. That's about the angle you want to keep the chin the entire time. Okay? So, and this is about the size of a fist. This is just like the fist thing. And in fact, it might help you at first to put an actual tennis ball there and try to loosely hold it with your chin, okay? Without clenching it to keep the position correct. So, with this, you cannot push your head up too far with your hands because you're running into the tennis ball, okay? So, again, that crossed over your chest part, okay? When you're crunching, you want to come from your abs. Ugh. And I feel it in my abs for sure. And I'm not using my arms to push my head up. I'm not like shoving my neck so that my chin hits my chest because the tennis ball's in the way. So, good trick. So, in their instructions, they say to pull your belly button towards your spine in preparation for the movement. Slowly contract your abdomen, bringing your shoulder blades about 1 or 2 inches off the floor. So that's only about that much. Now, I always thought that you needed to crunch pretty far up, which is part of what led to the neck pulling, because, I mean, only an inch or so, I can do that. But if you're trying to get, like, all the way up to here, you gotta do something with your head. But they say only 1 or 2 inches. Well, turns out, this is also one of their warnings. The crunch is a subtle movement, lifting the shoulder blades just a few inches off the floor. Jerking the shoulders up adds momentum and reduces the effectiveness of the exercise. It takes time to build strength in the abs, so it's best to take your time and do the move slowly, rather than using momentum to get the body up. So, this ties back into our no swinging or gravity rule. Use the muscles. And jerking up your neck or shoulders is similar. So, we're going to try this. An actual crunch. Okay. Tennis ball, chest, belly button, 1 or 2 inches. That's not bad at all. I definitely feel the belly button pulling in. And I have no need to shove my chin into my chest. I'm not even like, this could come out while I'm in midair. My chin is not holding too hard. So, apparently that's how you actually do a crunch. Now, once you master the crunch, you can throw in all kinds of variations, which are listed in the Very Well Fit article about crunches. And you can progress to the Men's Health version of lifting your feet up, to the 90-degree angle bit. But start with your feet on the ground until you get the form right. You do not want to try to be focusing on very, very beginner neck form and also be focusing on keeping your legs up at 2 90-degree angles and maintaining your balance. But once you get the first part down, you can add a little intensity that way. Now, sit-ups. Sit-ups are another exercise that is very easy to do wrong. But in their article on core exercises, Daily Burn had a really good breakdown. If performed incorrectly, sit-ups can cause more pain than they're worth. Rubin breaks down how to safely and effectively perform the move. To start, sit on the floor with your knees bent, heels touching the floor, hands on either side of your head, shoulders dropped and relaxed to avoid tension in the neck, keeping your feet on the ground, laid back until your back is flat on the floor or as far as you're able. Okay? one where, again, momentum can be abused as you're coming back up. They suggest a modification. If you're having trouble keeping your core and back engaged, slowly lower yourself as far as you can and work up to lowering completely down to the floor. There's no need to go all the way back until you can maintain perfect form, says Rubin. So, if all you can do is this, I'm feeling that in my core right now. If that's all you can do, that's all you can do. The point is your core is engaged. Now that was nowhere near all the way back on the floor, but you saw when I tried to go all the way back on the floor, the last half of that was just falling. So slow and steady is the key to keep your form up. And your form is way more important. Now, if you've mastered the position of the sit-up, you can progress to the bicycle crunch. But Daily Burn warns that this is harder. This is a major progression from the sit-up. So if this movement is tough for you, keep practicing sit-ups. If you're ready for it though, this is how to do the bicycle crunch. Start in the same neutral position as the sit-up, sitting with knees bent, heels flat on the floor, hands on either side of your head. Bring the right knee and left elbow towards one another with a simple and gentle twist. Reset and switch. So, now you can see I have not mastered the sit-up, so my foot is not leaving the ground. But if you have mastered the sit-up, then that's how you do a bicycle crunch. Now, while you're sitting here, spin around and try a seated leg lift. It looks easy, but you can really feel the burn. Keeping your core engaged, lean back slightly so you're able to put your hands on either side of your glutes. Take a deep breath and lift one leg 6 inches off the ground. I don't think that was even 6 inches. Ideally, you want to hold it for about 5 seconds before lowering it and repeating with the other leg. Now, if that's too easy, you can extend the count. If it's too hard, just hold for like 1 second or so before switching. So, 6 inches, 5, and down. And you can. I can feel it all through here and here. And you can tell, like, I might have been holding my breath because I was trying a little hard, but it is definitely more of a workout than you think. And you don't want to speed it up so much that you're, again, just doing the momentum thing. Boink, boink, boink. Even without much of a hold, keep your form. So even if you're just going 1 second and then down, you're still moving your leg, not letting it fall. Okay? So, and you can definitely feel this one. Now, rolling over. Fun times. So, Men's Health notes that a lot of people neglect their back, and a lower back curl can really help. Plus, they explain, it works the whole back and also alleviates back pain from days at the desk. So, to do this one, you lie down flat with your arms by your sides. Slowly raise your chest upwards with your arms down. Keep your head up during the move. Once you've reached the furthest point up, lower yourself back down. This is what it looks like. So you're sort of making a boat here. You're lifting up your head, you're lifting up your feet, and you're holding as much as you can, and your core is definitely working here, and your back, and then you want to lower back down. Don't flop. Don't let that gravity momentum let you flop. So, that is a great treatment for your lower back pain if you're always hunching over a desk. You're rocking it out. Now, the last few, we're going to get up onto our hands and knees. And whenever you're in this position, you want to make sure, this is the main reason I'm using my thick yoga mat today. Whenever you're in this position, you want to make sure your hands are directly below your shoulders. Okay? All right. And you want your knees directly below your hips in, again, this lovely double 90-degree thing that we're working on. Okay? So like this. Okay? You don't want to be rocked back, rocked forward, side to side, any of that. So, for the first exercise in this position, we'll do a segmented cat camel. The Daily Burn recommends this for back pain. But it reminds me of a yoga pose. I think it is one, actually. But they just say it's an exercise. So, squeeze your core and glutes and round your back up towards the ceiling, tucking your chin to your chest. From here, slowly reverse the arch in your back. Continue until your entire back is curved towards the floor and you look up to the ceiling. Okay? Now reverse the motion starting at your neck and moving back down towards your tailbone to return to the starting position. So, this is what it looks like when I'm not tilted towards you. Okay? So ideally, you could see, ideally I was doing it right, that the movement travels from your tailbone to your head as you arch up. And then as you come back down, it goes from your head to your tailbone. So, hopefully I was doing it right. You can also try a bird dog. This is a somewhat easier version of a lot of the fancy like push-up and plank variations you see, but by having your body weight suspended on your hand and knee instead of your toes or forearms, you're more stable. So, look toward the floor, just in front of your hands. Brace your core to maintain a flat tabletop position. From here, extend one arm and the opposite leg up and away from your body so that they are parallel to the floor. So, trim my ankles. Okay, head down. And then you switch. Now, once you hit the mark, hold for a few seconds and then return, swap sides, and repeat. You want to be careful that you're not arching or curling your back the way you just did in the cat camel. You're aiming for a straight line from fingertip to toe. So, so for a more advanced version, you can try a bird dog crunch, which is instead of bringing your arm and leg back to the ground, they meet in the middle under your belly for a crunch. And at this point, your back will curl a little bit, and that's okay. And then you extend them again without touching the ground. Okay, so in theory, it looks like this. Now, instead of one arm and leg going and then the other one, you're going to just keep doing this same pair over and over until you come back down. And that's one set. And then you'll switch to the other arm and leg for the other set. So it's definitely putting more weight on your one arm and leg at a time instead of switching. And it's definitely more of a burn. It's definitely the more advanced version. Okay. And there's your back covered. Ta-da! Back exercises. Now, while we're here, I've got one last exercise from Shape. So, if you're like me, you've seen those super impressive examples of people using like dumbbells during planks or push-ups. So they'll be like here, and they're like, "Oh look, I'm planking, and I'm just gonna like lift a push-up or lift a dumbbell while I'm at it. Woohoo!" It's insane. I mean, maybe someday, but for right now, I'm like, I can't even hold a plank. But there's an easier way for us beginners. So, what is it? It is your hands and knees. It's called a tripod row. With the tripod row, you only have one leg back in the plank position, and you rest your other one down on your knee. So, okay? So, this takes some of the pressure off of your hands and feet when you do the lift, because your knee is supporting you. It's like a big chunk. You want to make sure that that knee is at a 90-degree angle, not like this. Okay? They're 90 degrees. And make sure your shoulders directly over your hands. Even though we're mixing it up by having our leg out, it doesn't mean that our standard hands and feet posture is changing. Okay? And then you lift one hand with the dumbbell in it. So, and okay, now I think it's actually more of a workout if you're doing the hand that is not the one with the leg extended. Because you have to balance your body a little bit more in the center. When you're doing this one, it's really easy to just rock all your weight onto this half of your body, and it's free. But if you're going crossways, you have to put a little more balance into it, okay? In my experience. So, I am very much feeling the burn. Hopefully you are too. Because that is our week of beginner exercises done. Hopefully now we've all got a good grounding in simple strength training that we can all do at home to add to our cardio with some very simple things like a chair, maybe some light dumbbells, piece of paper, any kind of ball. That's really all you need to do literally an entire week's worth of strength training. And that was with only one set each, or one rep each. So this has been Roly Poly Weight Loss. As always, I am your host, Roly Poly. Please continue to share your favorite strength training exercises with the hashtag strength training, and please share any set, rep, or circuit plans you put together. And please join me next time.